Oh, well, Secretary Yellen has a couple of very famous Ivy League degrees. So we have to listen to her, and she is the Treasury Secretary, but she is wrong again. I don't think I've ever known her to be right about anything. And I mean, most economists would laugh when they hear someone say something like that. So
Yeah.
I have no confidence in her yet again.
Well, that seemed like more of a political statement that she made as opposed to an economic one. Would you agree with that? That she's just talking politics and not really reality?
Jim, of course, she's trying to keep her job. I mean, she's a politician. She's in Washington. All of these people try to keep their jobs. They say things that they think will help them keep their jobs. It's not good for you and me. It's not good for the viewers, but they don't care about us. They want to keep their jobs.
Something else that's been in the news, just this week is, have you had a chance to see the Jerome Powell's recent FOMC statement that happened the other day, and their new interest rate policy to begin the taper, $15 billion?
Well, I don't know if I've seen I mean, he says a lot, but
Yeah.
I have, if you mean because they say they're going to cut back on buying so many bonds, I have seen that. Hooray. Why didn't they stop that 10 years ago? Why'd they ever start it? But yes, I have seen that Mr. Powell says they're going to cut back their buying bonds.
What do you think is going to happen? How do you think the market's going to handle this? Do you think it's just going to be a nice smooth taper, or a taper tantrum like they had a couple of years ago as they started to pull back and stop the taper?
Well, either way, I don't think this is the end of the stock market. It may be the end of the bond market, but it's certainly not the end of the stock market being fairly strong. Usually it takes more than just one or two. In fact, when I first started in the business, the rule of thumb was that you don't worry about the Fed until they've raised interest rates 3 times. First time it scares people. Second time it scares people. The third time it's serious. Who knows? Those were the old days. But this is not yet enough, I don't think, because they're still printing huge amounts of money in central banks all over the world. There's some are starting to be cautious, but it takes a lot to kill a bull market, especially after you've printed more money than has been printed in the entire history of the world.
Jim, there's been a lot of news about energy shortages coming for Europe. What's the risks and how big of an impact could this have on the market?
Well, there seem to be energy shortages. It's for real. I mean, the price of energy has gone through the roof, whether it's coal or oil or gas. I mean, I'm not the only one who sees what's happening in the markets, and the markets are smarter than I am. Yes, there's shortages developing, but Ivan, all over the world, people are saying, close the coal mines, stop using coal energy, stop using oil, stop using atomic energy. That's fine if that's what people want, but you have to understand the consequences that you may go over there and turn the light switch and nothing happens. Now, if that's what people want, that's fine. They can vote and say no more coal, no more atomic energy, et cetera, but there are consequences of things like that. And one of the consequences at the moment, anyway, is the price of all this stuff is going through the roof because there's no supply.
Yeah, it seems to be China's just having these rolling shortages, and I don't think people quite understand how serious this gets in terms, factories are shutting down for parts of the day where they used to go full bore. And this sort of, this trickles into the supply chains and everything else. It's, do you think that, so, I mean, I guess the big crisis lately is the supply chain disruptions, right? It's, are you thinking this is something that's a short-term thing or more longer term? I don't know if you've thought about that at all.
Jim, I think about all sorts of things every day. I have to.
Yeah.
I have to pay my bills. I have to pay the light bill, whether the lights come on or not. Of course, I've thought about it. Well, first of all, there is, as you probably know, the cure for high prices is high prices. When you have high prices, 2 things happen. One, people start producing more, and secondly, people start using less. So eventually, the high prices will lead to lower prices, as they always have. And likewise, the cure for low prices is low prices, because when things are too low, people stop producing and other people use more. So this has happened many, many, many times in history. I do know that prices of these things are going up a whole lot. I own I own one uranium stock. It's going up. Hooray. But it has nothing to do with me. It has to do with the fact that we want electricity. And price of coal is going through the roof. I'm a director of a coal company. My gosh, we can't believe how much money we're making. Not that we're doing anything different. It's just that people have closed down all the coal mines.
Yeah.
Again, if that's what people want, they need to understand the consequences.
Jim, you're currently in uranium. Do you see it going higher or do you see it going lower in the future?
Well, I own it. I'm not selling it. So I guess I think it's going higher.
Oh, come on, Ivan. You got a better question than that. Come on.
Okay.
I should ask you guys. You guys are smarter than I am.
No,
Should I sell it? I am not selling it. Ivan, even if you tell me to sell it, I'm not selling it yet.
Well, you know Rick Rule. I'm sure you're familiar with Rick Rule. He started that uranium trust, and he's a big investor in all these uranium stocks. His thought when we interviewed him is that some of the uranium miners might be a little bit ahead of themselves in terms of their current valuations, and they were, he thought they moved up a little bit too quickly.
Well, that's what happens in most markets. Things move up, they get ahead of themselves, and they go down ahead of themselves. I mean, that's the way markets work. Nothing new. I mean, Rick's a smart guy. There's nothing new about that.
So what are you thinking about gold and silver lately? Have you been surprised that they have, it seems like in the larger macro environment, this should be the perfect time for gold and silver to shine. I mean, have you been surprised that they really haven't taken off in the face of all this, what objectively seems like positive news for gold and silver?
Well, the last time I spoke to you all, I explained that I certainly do own silver and I certainly do own gold, but I'm not buying it, and I have not been buying it for a while. I'm not buying it yet. I do plan to buy more, probably a lot more, of both gold and silver, because before this is over, both of them are going to go through the roof. When I start buying again, I will buy more silver than gold because of current prices. I mean, silver's cheaper. Silver's down, 60% or something from its all-time high. Gold is down only 10% or so from its all-time high. So when I start buying again, I will certainly buy more silver than gold. And by the way, I've never sold any of either because silver and gold is something that everybody should own, even if just a little bit, as an insurance policy, if nothing else.
Before we continue, help us clicking that YouTube like button and subscribe now to our channel. This shows the algorithm that you valued this information. And it helps us spread that message. Sharing is caring. And now, let's continue.
Do you want to know one thing about crypto? I made over 3,000% in profit in a few weeks. Fact is, the traditional financial system, the traditional money system makes you poor, not rich. If you want to earn $500,000, $1 million, you have to wait until you're 50, 60, 70 in the traditional financial system, and you probably will still be broke. And you will be old. This is not a sexy combination, as you can imagine. But the question is, how can you start in crypto and make these profits? Where to invest? Where to start? My name is Gunnar and I'm from Germany, as you can hear, and things are a little bit different in Germany. More about that later on. Fact is, there are lots of different cryptocurrencies. It's a gigantic universe where beginners and professionals get easily lost. But there is light at the end of the tunnel. There are 7 key steps you need to follow to become successful in this market. You have to know them, and if you fail one of them, it's literally impossible to succeed in this market. Just an example, one of the key points is your exchange, and one of the biggest are, for example, Binance and Coinbase. These are trusted and well-established exchanges, but, and this is a big but, you won't find the super profitable coins on those exchanges. The unknown super profitable coins that get gigantic profits are not traded on those kind of exchanges. They are traded on much smaller insider platforms that are barely known. And I can tell you what those super secret exchanges are and why they are so profitable. And another super important thing are the right information sources. The point is, the internet is gigantic. There are hundreds and hundreds of YouTube channels, blogs, pages, and much more. And there are also market makers and influencers. For example, Elon Musk, he is not a crypto guy, but the moment he recommended Dogecoin, it went through the roof, to the moon, so to say. But why did he recommend it? Where did he hear it from? He didn't hear it from newspapers. And believe me, he is listening to someone. But you have to know who, and you have to react before he is reacting. This is really, really important. And these are only 2 of the 7 steps you have to follow in order to be successful in crypto. And if you want to know all of these steps in much more detail, and if you want to have a comprehensive checklist, here's what you should do. There is a link below this video. Click on this link and you will get the opportunity to subscribe to my channel. Click on the link and you will see a video where I explain the next steps. So see you soon. Click on the link now. I'll see you there.